Hey guys, it's Dave here from Made Simple Media. Today I want to talk to you about website accessibility. This is a super important topic, and we're about to cover it in detail. We'll discover why accessibility is so important for your website, and cover the issues will you face if your business or charity's website has poor accessibility. However, we will also go over the benefits you will see when you implement great accessibility on your website. So, what do we mean by website accessibility? Well, accessibility is all about ensuring your website or software product can be used by anyone. And to do this, we need to consider those users who have the following conditions. People with deafness and hearing loss. Those with cognitive disabilities affecting thought, learning, memory, and decision-making. Temporary or situational impairments. Blindness and low vision, speech disabilities, limited movement, and neurological limitations. Clearly, we need to think about accessibility very seriously. If your website has poor accessibility, then you are reducing the size of your audience. You are therefore reducing the number of sales and conversions through your website, or donations if you are a charity. With poor accessibility, we are also increasing our website's bounce rate. It looks bad for our brand, and potentially we are breaking the law by operating an uninclusive website. So let's get started, looking into how we make things better for all. Accessibility is not all about technical issues. It starts with the design of your website. The first thing I want to cover is typography and text. We need to make sure that we choose nice typography that is easy to read at all sizes. Although fancy fonts can be tempting if they are used for important headings or buttons and are hard to read, we may want to choose something simpler. We tend to use Google Fonts in the websites that we design for clients. There are a huge amount of fonts to choose from. You can filter down to serif or sans serif fonts and choose ones you like. You then just get the embed code and add it to your site. This is usually added in the header of the website. Long lines of text in your website with too many words per line can be hard to read. This is a common problem because websites tend to be very wide these days, at least on desktop screens. So we make areas with paragraph text narrower so they are easier to read. The next topic I want to tell you about is code semantics. Semantics are all about the actual meaning and context of our code within the overall structure of our page. Some users will use screen readers rather than regular browsers to read your website. This means they directly read the code rather than the design of the site that is rendered from the code. So we can write code which has more meaning so they can understand the context of a block of HTML. With this in mind, we can use HTML5 semantic tags such as header, footer, and nav to give your code improved semantics. Navigation needs to make sense to users. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, stick to convention. This is what users will be expecting. It's very important that users can understand and interact effortlessly with your website's menus and navigate to the pages they want to read. Use text within your links that is widely understood. Users then know what to expect before they click on your links. The next thing we need to talk about is images. There should be a text alternative to the image using the alt attribute, like this. If an image just adds style to a page, a null alt attribute can be added instead. Null simply means it is empty, without text. Modals and dialogs, which are sometimes called pop-ups, can be useful for presenting certain information for users, like a form. There needs to be a clear button to close the modal. Preferably, users can also click outside the modal and it will close. Modals need to prevent users from interacting with what is behind it. Done badly, modals can be an accessibility nightmare. Frameworks like Bootstrap give us great quality modals with guidance on making them fully accessible. ARIA attributes should also be used to associate modals with its title and description. For this and other examples, you can refer back to our blog on madesimplemedia.co.uk and copy the code. Follow this QR code for the full article. Forms are highly interactive elements, so accessibility is incredibly important. Make sure you use the correct field types for the fields in your form. For form labels, use for and name. The for attribute in the label should match the name attribute in the fields tag itself. Group form fields using the field set and legend tags like this. Required fields need special consideration too. These are fields that are mandatory and must be completed. Note how we use the required attribute here, and also the ARIA required attribute. Another essential consideration for form accessibility is what happens when a user makes a mistake. We need clear, helpful error messages so the user knows what to do. Here we have a message that only developers will want to read. It's not helpful for most users. This is a much better message, which tells users exactly which field they missed out, so they know it needs to be completed. It tells them that it is a required field. We also need a clear focus state on form fields. This is the highlight you see when clicking a field, and we need to be able to tab through fields in order using the keyboard. For date fields, we need to help the user understand the date format we are expecting them to enter into the field. Here we add DDMMYYY to prompt them to add the date in that format. We also now have available a more advanced date field type, which renders a date picker like this. This doesn't need any plugins or JavaScript. File inputs allow users to attach a file, like a CV on a job form. To improve accessibility, we should add a descriptive label showing which file types are allowed to be uploaded. For example, if we have a form where users can attach their CV, we should tell them that we allow Word docs and PDF files only. We should also tell them the maximum allowed size, for example 2 megabytes. Another common accessibility issue with forms is timeouts. For example, Google's reCAPTCHA has a really annoying 2-minute timeout. After this time, it just shows a cryptic message that users don't understand. Using the setInterval method, we can refresh the timeout so our reCAPTCHA can go back to blocking spam and not our users. Another tip for creating more accessible forms is to break up long forms into steps or slides. Also, add a progress bar to let users know. This shows how far along users are when completing each step of the form, which is reassuring for them and gives them a rough idea of how long there is to go. Also, make sure the source code is in the correct order, as per the fields on the page. Why do this? Because screen readers will go through it in that order, so it needs to make sense for all users. Videos require some special measures when it comes to accessibility too. One of the main things is adding captions to them. Captions and subtitles are there for users to read what people are saying in the video. If our users are deaf, or simply don't have access to speakers or headphones, or just don't want any sound enabled, then they will need captions. Video controls need to be clear, so users can easily play and pause the video. They also need to be able to mute or unmute and adjust the volume. It's important also that they can skip ahead or go back. If you host your video on YouTube or Vimeo and embed the video in the page using their settings, then you'll have these controls available anyway. Let's cover a few more aspects of accessibility for videos. Make sure you add a video description in an area tag like this. Consider adding a transcript to your video, like an audio description. This gives an audio commentary for those who cannot see the video. Some TVs have audio description, so enable that on your remote and you'll see how it works. It basically reads out everything that is happening. This is especially useful for graphics and graphs that show a lot of information on screen. If you need to, you can go further and make a sign language version of your video. Your video should also load in all web browsers. Yet, not all browsers understand the same video file type. So, if you are hosting HTML5 video on your website, make sure you create different versions and load them into your video tag using source tags. I tend to create MP4 and WebM versions. If I only have an MP4 video, I can make a WebM as well using video editing software, or vice versa. If your video contains flashing or flickering lights or animated patterns, it could potentially trigger seizures for users with epilepsy. Consider adding a warning at the start of the video. They do this on video games and some TV programs. Make sure videos load and stream smoothly. If you host them on your website and you have issues with videos playing, consider using a streaming service like bunny.net, or host on YouTube or Vimeo directly and use a player or embed code to add them on your website. We need to test our website's accessibility level. This can be done using various tools. Some are as simple as an extension for Google Chrome. Two examples of these tools are Wave and Axe DevTools. These tools can inspect your website's pages and find accessibility issues for you. You can then fix them and rerun the tests to make sure everything is working great. ARIA attributes can be applied to many more elements too. I know that Wave will tell you if they are missing on any elements within your page. You can also get up and running with accessibility toolbars. These are components offered as paid software add-ons. You can quickly embed on your website to instantly add new accessibility options. Toolbars like Access Angel provide buttons for increasing text size, contrast, language, and other settings too. Recite and Equal Web are other products on the market that you can check out. See what works best for you. How your website loads on different connections really matters too. Remember, not everyone has the latest fiber connection. Some users will be on mobile networks which may not be delivering their optimal connection speed. So we need to test our website by simulating slower connections. Fortunately, Chrome provides a method in its DevTools. We can simulate slower connections, such as a 3G connection straight from our usual web browser. To get started, press the Control key and F12 on a PC or Option, and the propeller key and J on the Mac. It works by throttling the connection and simulating that speed when we load a page. Here we are simulating a 3G connection. Don't forget to switch back to your normal speed afterwards. So, how does great website accessibility benefit you? Your site will be more inclusive, and it'll be fully compliant with your legal obligations. You'll be seen as more ethical and inclusive organization, so you're more likely to get investment and donations. What's more, it's the right thing to do. If you want more information, I recommend heading over to the Web Accessibility Initiative website. You'll find everything you need to know about website accessibility. Thanks for watching. Why not head over to madesimplemedia.co.uk for more helpful tips in our blog, and please do feel free to get in touch if you need our help with anything. Take care and see you next time.